Chapter 7, Qualitative Research Methods. The theories and techniques associated despite recent efforts to deny the value of qualitative work. This chapter reviews the following elements: the underlying principles of naturalistic work, ethical concern, data gathering techniques, data analysis tools and methods, developing grounded theory, ensuring analytic integrity, and the presentation of findings. Underlying principles of naturalistic work. Naturalistic work seeks out all aspects of the complexity on the grounds that they are essential to understanding the behavior which they are a part. Naturalism as a research paradigm. When defined as a research paradigm rather than as a research method, naturalism is an approach that posits reality as holistic, based in the perceptions of individuals and communities, and are continually changing. The research goal centers on understanding, discovering, and explaining rather than on predicting or testing. Critics assert that qualitative researchers' understanding and description of people are generally limited to those with whom they have a political or ethical sympathy, commonly those people who have been in some way discriminated against or socially oppressed. Naturalism and LIS research. The naturalistic paradigm only recently has been accepted in applied or professional schools. If any research setting, the research problem determines the research approach and the choice of methods. Role of mixed multi-method research. A mixed methods or multi-methods approach in some cases provides the necessary array of data. The mixed methods approach possesses at a false dichotomy the absolute forced choice of either qualitative or quantitative methods. 4 basic principles guide mixed method design. 1. Determine and adhere to the theoretical impetus underpinning the project. 2. Work to account for the impact of the method that is brought into the primary methodological trust. 3. Drive the design decisions from the assumptions of the base method. 4. Employ only the essential data sets. These principles encourage the meshing or linking of methods, which is more appropriate than integrating them because it encourages a more thoughtful and deliberate approach to building from the strengths of different methods as they relate to research questions. Ethical concerns. The consequential ethics perspective would push the researcher to break all confidentiality bands by informing the two of each other's work in the expectation that global good could result from an earlier and more complete piece of cancer research. The non-consequential ethics perspective could push the researcher to maintain confidentiality without reference to the references of the participants or the needs of cancer patients in general. Data gathering techniques. The act of data gathering for a qualitative study is an involving process rooted in ongoing analysis. It involves more than obtaining discrete units of information. The impact of those factors on a constructed hierarchical relationship and on decision regarding both ethics and data integrity must not be underestimated. Sampling. The depth, complexity, and richness of the data are critical, but identifying a representative sample is not even a consideration since the purpose of the research is to understand, not to generalize. The most common sampling techniques in qualitative studies follow the thread of purpose. The naturalist approach starts with a purpose for working with one type of participant rather than with another. In LIS research, the following methods may be most useful. 1. Maximum variety sampling. This method seeks a heterogeneous a sample as possible and is useful when seeking to identify patterns and commonalities that exist across otherwise divergent individuals. 2. Extreme case sampling. This method selects participants who appear to exemplify characteristics of interest. 3. Intensity sampling. This technique identifies participants who have a great deal of experience with a phenomenon. 4. Snowball sampling. This method identifies participants who are linked through shared experiences, perspective, or other factors. Observation. Observation is a broad category of data gathering in which the naturalistic researcher must choose a point of balance between observing and participating. A potentially effective means of deepening the field's understanding of human behavior, observation requires careful efforts to prepare, gather data, respect participants, and analyze data. Researchers are expected to 1. Use the extant research literature as one means of providing background, insight, and questions. 2. Gain access to a community with integrity. 3. Choose a sample which most effectively address the research questions. 4. Deliberately identify and follow a chosen research rule. 5. Document data collection with care, detail, and reflection. 6. Thoughtfully meet all ethical obligations, particularly those which are unexpected. 7. Leave the field ethically. 8. Analyze the resulting data accurately, honestly, and fully. For much LIS research, the setting varies along the following 4 continua. 1. Number of participants. Settings can be crowded or sparsely populated. 2. Public versus private. Settings can be as public as a reference desk or as private as a professor's office. 3. Size of the observable actions. Settings can be limited to small actions. 4. Staff or public. Setting can be involved library staff, the public, or some combination thereof. Interviews. In all the variety, interviews are a valuable qualitative method for researchers who make effective choices along the continuum between structured and unstructured interviews. Interviewing's primary strength is its ability to range over a time period. Prob questions that follows the main questions could be of the top following types. 1. Continuation. 2. Elaboration. 3. Clarification. 4. Steering probes. 5. Sequence probes. 6. Evidence probes. 7. Slant probes. Effective questions are framed so as to build upon the shared understanding, whether personal or cultural, between researcher and participants. Documents, questionnaires, diaries, journals, papers, and more. Materials written by participants diverge in their format, content, and impetus. The format variations of questionnaires also have their strengths and weaknesses. Those papers lack the artificial nature of a research-induced diary but do include all the self-reported problems of an assigned course-related document. Data analysis tools and methods. 2 principles of qualitative data analysis. First, analysis is an ongoing process that feeds back into the research design right up to the last moment of data gathering. Second, whatever theory, model, or working hypothesis eventually develops must grow naturally from the data analysis rather than standing to the side as an prior statement that the data will affirm or refute. This integration of data collection and analysis is central to qualitative work. Discourse analysis. Discourse analysis developed by Michel Foucault has the capacity to track historically the origins of and challenges to mainstream ideas and to illustrate marginalized ideas through an open. Content analysis basics. Content analysis is based on the premise that the many words from interviews, observations, and documents can be reduced to or organized into categories. Content analysis terms. Before exploring the techniques of content analysis, it is necessary to review a few of the basic terms relating directly to coding. 1. A datum is a unit of information that is recorded in a durable medium. 2. Categories organize each datum by grouping it is with other that share similar denotations or connotations. 3. Themes, the cluster categories that share some commonalities such as reference to a single issue. The constant comparative method of content analysis. Originally, the constant comparative method was described in 4 stages. 1. Comparing incidents applicable to each category. 2. Integrating categories and their properties. 3. Delimiting the theory. And 4. Writing the theory. These categories are carefully defined and made mutually exclusive so that relationships can be identified between those elements that fall into the categories. Coding data. Coding lies at the heart of the constant comparative method in that units of data are compared to each other in terms of their fit into the developing coding scheme. Coding techniques. Only experience can translate the mechanics of coding guidelines into efficient, effective methods, but several techniques facilitate that process. Creating typologies is a 5-step process that involves 1. Identifying the primary domain that meets classification, people, object, or behaviors. 2. Coding the data for relationships and qualities. 3. Seeing if the data can be grouped into categories that share 2 or more codes. 4. Creating meaningful labels for the categories. 5. Codifying the typology with full descriptions. Moving from codes to theory. Organizing data by categories, themes, and concepts can provide a framework that supports the move from coding to theory. Data can be organized by 1. Categories, 2. Themes, 3. Concepts. Ensuring coding integrity. During coding, 3 techniques help ensure the integrity of the work. First, the acceptable reliability level must be established prior to test coding and meet regularly before final coding. Second, phase validity is necessary but far from sufficient. Developing grounded theory. Grounded theory work values that process of continuously developing, refining, and enhancing theory in recognition of the contributions that other studies, perspectives, and mind can make to the original effort. The current practice of grounded theory development posits the research process context as crucial to both data analysis and theory generation. Ensuring integrity. Ensuring integrity is no more difficult for naturalistic work than it is for positivist work. But again, the mean differ. The techniques discussed below focus on ensuring the integrity, trustworthiness, and value of naturalistic data gathering and analysis as well as the theory or working hypothesis that results from them. Primary techniques. Particularly when used in concert, the following techniques strengthen the credibility of findings. 1. Coordinated collection of sufficient data is ensured. 2. Per debriefing requires submitting the research. 3. Member checks take the study participants. 4. Negative case analysis requires developing and revising a theory. 5. Although difficult for the resource-poor investigator. 6. Coordinating data gathering systematically. 7. Finally, watching for and noting the impact of researchers' bias. Additional techniques. In addition to the standard techniques, Miles and Haberman listed 12 tactics for confirming meanings, avoiding bias, and assuring the quality of conclusions. Presentation of findings. However, there are 5 points specific to the presentation of qualitative research findings that bear mention. First, in almost any forum, it may be necessary to explain the concept behind naturalistic methods. Second, qualitative research requires great detail and explication of both data gathering and data analysis. Third, one ethic of particular value to qualitative research requires the researcher to make some return to the community. Fourth, in almost every case, researchers must make active, careful decisions about giving voice to the participants. Finally, if research is implied to help us understand the world. Summary. as LIS scholars lead to the information community's development of information systems and services for users. These deceptively simple rules for social research serve both scholar and participant well throughout the process. 1. Surprise should be possible. 2. Look for and report differences that make a difference. 3. Build reality checks into the data gathering. 4. Replicate where possible. 5. Compare like with like. 6. The method is servant, not master.